The story starts with a scene in a small, quiet cafe in Prague. The sky was gray, the rain falling softly on the glass windows, and the sound of coffee cups touching saucers filled the room. Eliska sat alone at the corner table, her fingers slowly turning the pages of a book she wasn't really reading. Her eyes kept looking at the door, like she was waiting for someone or something from long ago. Her heart was full of silence, but her mind was loud with memories. And then it happened. Her phone lit up. A name appeared. One name, the name she had deleted, forgotten, cried over and buried in the deepest place in her soul. Leon. Her hand shook. Her lips opened like she wanted to scream, but no sound came out. She just stared at the screen. The call ended before she could answer. 7 years. After 7 years of nothing. No calls. No messages. Not even a birthday wish. And now, a call. Her heart started beating like a drum. Was it a mistake? Did he dial by accident? Or was it something more? Something deeper. Her fingers hovered over the call history. She touched the screen. And there it was again. Leon, called 1 minute ago. The name took her back to the past like a strong wind. She closed her eyes, and suddenly she was 21 again. The sun was warm, and they were laughing in a park in Lisbon. Leon had taken her hand and promised never to let go. His eyes were full of dreams. They talked about moving to Paris, writing books, opening a bakery, or maybe even traveling the world. They were young, poor, and wild, but happy. But life doesn't always follow dreams. Sometimes it follows secrets. And Leon had one. A big one. A secret so deep that when it came out, it broke everything. Eliska found out one cold morning. She saw him in a small street cafe, talking to another girl. Not just talking, holding her hand. Smiling. The way he smiled only at Eliska. When she asked him later, he didn't lie. He didn't even try. He just looked away and said, "I didn't know how to tell you." And then he left. Just like that. Without a goodbye. Without a reason. And Eliska cried every night for months. She lost herself. She stopped painting. Stopped going out. Her world became small and full of tears. It took her 3 years to feel like a human again. And even then, she never truly trusted anyone. Not after Leon. Now, 7 years later, she sat in that cafe again with his name on her screen. That night, she didn't sleep. She didn't cry either. She just lay on her bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking, why now? Why him? Why again? The next morning, she sent him a message. Just one word. Why? She waited. 1 hour. 2. A day passed. No reply. Another day. Still nothing. Then, on the 3rd day, her phone beeped. One message. From Leon. It said, "Can we meet?" Just once. Please. She read it again and again. Her hands felt cold. Her heart felt warm and scared at the same time. But curiosity is a strange thing. It pulls you even when you try to resist. She said yes. They decided to meet in Vienna, the city where they had once dreamed to live. Eliska took the train. The whole journey felt like a dream. She looked out of the window, trees passing by, people talking, but she heard nothing. Her mind was only thinking of Leon. Would he look the same? Would she cry when she saw him? Would he still have that smile? She arrived early. He said he would meet her at a small bridge near the Danube River. It was a quiet place, almost hidden. She waited. And then, from far away, she saw someone walking slowly. A man. A little older, a little thinner, but still him. Still Leon. His hair was shorter, and his eyes looked tired, but when he saw her, he stopped. Like the world had paused. For a moment, they just stared at each other. Then he walked closer. "Hi," he said. His voice was soft, broken, almost afraid. "Hi," she replied. The air between them felt heavy, like holding 7 years of silence. I didn't know if you would come, he said. I didn't know if I should, she answered. He nodded. I understand. You have every reason not to. Then why did you call? She asked, her voice shaking. He looked down, then up again. Because I'm dying. The words hit her like a stone. She blinked. What? I have cancer, he said. The doctors say I have maybe 6 months. Maybe less. Her legs felt weak. She sat down on a bench near the bridge. He sat beside her. For a long time, they said nothing. I'm not here to ask for anything, he said. I wanted to see you. One last time. I wanted to say I'm sorry. I was a coward. I lied. I hurt you. And I never stopped thinking about it. She felt tears in her eyes, but she wiped them away. I was angry for a long time, she said. I hated you. Then I hated myself. Then I felt nothing. He nodded. I know. I deserve that. I don't want to forgive you, she said quietly. I don't expect you to. Then she looked at him. Really looked at him. And for a moment, the hate turned into something else. Not love. Not peace. But a deep, strange sadness. The kind that only comes when you see someone you once knew very well, but now feels like a stranger with your memories. He pulled something from his coat. A small letter. I wrote this a long time ago, he said. But I never had the courage to send it. She took it, held it, but didn't open it. Maybe I'll read it later. He smiled a little. Thank you for coming. That's all I needed. But she didn't leave. She stayed. They walked along the river. Talked. Cried a little. Laughed once. It was strange. Like talking to a ghost. A ghost from another life. But it didn't hurt as much as she thought it would. Sometimes it even felt warm. Then he said something that froze her again. I didn't cheat on you, he said. Not really. That girl, she was my sister. She stopped. What? He nodded. Half-sister. My father had another family. I never told you. That day, I was meeting her for the first time, but I didn't know how to explain it to you. I was scared. You were everything to me. I thought you'd leave me if I told you. She stared at him, her heart suddenly confused and burning. Why didn't you say this before? Because after I lost you, I lost everything. And I thought, maybe I deserve to be alone. Tears fell down her face, slow and warm. You destroyed me. I know, he said. And I'll carry that until the end. She looked at the sky. The sun was setting now, the sky turning gold and pink. She felt like a part of her heart had broken again, but not in the same way. This time, it was breaking open. She stood there in silence, looking at the river, the sky, the man beside her. Her heart was beating in a strange way, like it didn't know if it should feel pain or peace. Leon was not the same boy she had once loved, and she was not the same girl who had cried herself to sleep for months. Time had changed them. Life had changed them. But in this moment, something connected them again, not love, but truth. Eliska sat down on the bench again. She held the letter he gave her and opened it with slow hands. The paper was old, the ink a little faded, but every word was clear. He had written about the day they first met in Lisbon, about how scared he was to fall in love because his life was full of broken things. He said he never believed someone could love him honestly until he met her. And when he saw her smile that first morning, he knew he would break if he ever lost her. He also wrote about the secret of his sister, about how his family was full of lies, and how he didn't want to bring her into that world. So instead, he left. He left because he thought he was protecting her. But now, reading that, Eliska didn't know if she wanted to cry, scream, or forgive. It hurt all over again, but not in the same way. She folded the letter and held it to her chest. She whispered, "You were stupid." "I know," he said softly, eyes on the water. "You should have trusted me." "I should have." "And now you're dying." He nodded. Yes. The next days were strange. She didn't leave Vienna right away. Something inside her told her to stay. She and Leon met again, this time at a quiet park, then a museum, then a bookshop they had once dreamed of visiting. It was like touching the past with careful fingers, soft, slow, scared. They didn't talk much about death. They talked about memories, about the little things. Ice cream flavors, books, music, rain. Every time they met, Leon looked a little weaker, a little slower. But he smiled more, and Eliska, to her own surprise, laughed again. Not loud, but real. One evening, as they sat by the river again, he held her hand. It was the first time in 7 years. She didn't pull away. His hand was cold, thin, shaking. "I know I have no right to ask this," he said. "But will you stay with me until the end?" She looked at him for a long moment. Her heart wanted to run, to hide, to scream. But something deeper, something kinder, said yes. Not for love, not for the past, but because no one should die alone. And maybe, just maybe, she needed this goodbye as much as he did. So she stayed. She found a small flat in Vienna. She helped him to doctor visits. She brought him warm soup and clean clothes. Some nights he would wake up in pain, and she would sit beside him, holding his hand until he slept again. Some nights she cried alone in the kitchen, quietly, so he wouldn't hear. And slowly, painfully, they became something again. Not lovers, not strangers. Something in between. Something honest. One night, he gave her an old wooden box. "Open it when I'm gone," he said. She didn't ask what was inside. She just nodded. 2 weeks later, he passed away in his sleep. Peacefully. No pain. No fear. Eliska was there, holding his hand. His last words were, "Thank you for giving me back my soul." After the funeral, which was small and quiet, she went back to her flat. She sat at the table and opened the wooden box. Inside was a small notebook, a key, and a letter. The letter read, "Dear Eliska, if you are reading this, then I am no longer there. But please know I left with peace because of you. This notebook is full of my memories of us. I wrote every moment I could remember. Your laugh, your hair, the way you looked at me when I said something silly. You were my greatest love and my deepest pain. I also left a key. It's to a small cottage I bought 5 years ago in a village near the mountains. I named it Eliska's house. I always dreamed that one day you would see it. Maybe even live there. I filled it with paintings I made of you and letters I wrote but never sent. Maybe you'll find a small part of me there. And maybe, if you want, you can fill it with your own dreams too. I love you. Always. Leon." Tears fell on her hands like rain. She didn't try to stop them. She cried for him, for her, for the time they lost, and the time they found again. The next week, she took the key and traveled to the mountains. The village was quiet, full of green trees and small wooden homes. She found the cottage. It was beautiful, simple, and it truly was filled with paintings, some of her laughing, some crying, some sitting by the sea. The walls were covered with love, pain, memories. She stayed, not because she was running from the world, but because for the first time in years, her heart felt full. Not perfect, but full. She opened the windows every morning. She painted again. She wrote letters. She planted flowers. She smiled at the locals. And every night, she lit a candle by Leon's picture and whispered, "We found our home." At last. The story of Eliska and Leon was not one of forever. It was not about happy endings. But it was real. It was deep. It was unforgettable. Sometimes, love comes back not to stay, but to heal. And sometimes, the people who broke us are the ones who teach us how to live again. And in the quiet heart of the mountains, Eliska lived a life of peace, art, memory, and hope, because even after everything, she had learned that pain can end, that broken hearts can still beat, and that some stories, even when they end, live forever.